2 days after getting locked up by the Houston Rockets, Steph Curry helped blow out the Phoenix Suns in just 3 quarters with 25 points, 6 assists, and a plus 31 plus-minus. Historically, Curry bounces back strong after a single-digit scoring game, so I want to break down how he used on-ball actions and off-ball relocations to help put Phoenix away early. Let's get to it. One of the more effective plays that Golden State runs is the inverted pick and roll. Here Steph sets a screen for Jimmy, and the Suns were horrific on the defensive end all night. 2 defenders failed to communicate and go to double Jimmy Butler. Why would you leave the greatest shooter of all time open? I'm not sure, but it's not a surprise since the Suns put Bradley Beal as the primary defender on Curry. Easy kick out, and this forces Beal to close 15 feet out and jump right by. Easy shot fake by Steph and sidestep for the 3-ball. Now, I'm not sure if having Bradley Beal guard Steph Curry was part of the game plan, but this would not be my decision if I was the coach. Curry easily hits Beal with a double behind the back dribble, going baseline and forcing Nick Richards to help. The easy counter is just swing the ball up top, and we know 100% of the time Steph is going to relocate. Known cone defender in Bradley Beal follows his instinct of ball watching for just a half second, and that's all Steph needs to relocate back to the corner. Dre swings it, and Steph is locked in even with maybe 2 feet of daylight. On the Warriors' triple split action, the Suns are not switching off-ball screens. The split action works extremely well against defenses that play straight up. As Steph uses both Kuminga and Looney screens to get a step on Gillespie, Iguodala seizes and comes to stunt. But in my opinion, he leaves Steph too early to play the roll man in Looney, who is not a threat. Now Steph has a defender behind him and a free lane to drive, and snakes his dribble to get a high-quality push shot up. But with no one boxing him out, he's able to follow his own miss and get an easy putback. On-ball Steph Curry is my favorite Steph. When he does not have a Thompson twin picking him up full court, Curry knows he has a young, inexperienced player try to make him uncomfortable. Not much of a breakdown here, but an elite ability to shield the dribble from the defender. Looney also rolls at the perfect time, giving Steph the ability to keep his dribble alive and attack with his left hand. Iguodala is playing a drop coverage, and Gillespie finally gives up and makes a bad decision to reach from behind. You're just not going to pick Steph Curry, and Steph gets an open pull-up from the mid-range. I mean, some of this was just unfair. Another split action and Steph thinks about using Looney's screen but actually reads Gillespie's position in the top lock. The way to counter this aggressive denial coverage is to simply back cut. Gillespie actually breaks this pass up, but now Steph has him alone on an island on the baseline with no help. When you got a two-way player guarding you, you can do pretty much anything you want, just like a crazy turnaround over his left shoulder fadeaway and looks at the bench before it goes in. It was good to see Trayce Jackson-Davis finally get some burn. They're going to need him in the playoffs. Richards comes for the high ball screen, and the Warriors ice this towards the sideline. Grayson Allen is not a good ball handler, and with TJD coming up high to trap, the Warriors use the out of bounds as an extra defender to get the steal. 2-on-1 fast break with Steph Curry, and we get a TJD alley-oop for the first time in a while. Phoenix pretty much punted on the season now that KD is out and they're going to trade him. They have no defensive connectivity and Steph took advantage of that. With Draymond in the perimeter and his defender Nick Richards in a deep drop, allowing him to shoot, Tyus Jones shows that he's in a deny position but gets caught sleeping by Steph, who uses a swim move to easily backcut. Green changes his mind in midair and finds Steph, and the Warriors are getting anything they want on offense. Not much of a breakdown here, more a representation of the other collapse that has been the Suns this season. Could not even collect a rebound, but of course it lands in Guy Santos' hands. I love how Santos gets the ball and 90% of the time just looks to give it off to either Jimmy, Dre, or Steph. That's a connector that any championship caliber team needs. Jackson-Davis is near the paint, pointing at the sky for an alley-oop, and Steph's shooting gravity forces Allen to close out, where Curry just drives by him. Book comes to rotate, and TJD finishes an easy lob. Let's break down a defensive highlight. Booker's got the ball in the post and tries to go to work on JK. When he's getting to the paint, the weak side Warriors are in perfect positioning, while the Suns' spacing is brutal. TJD is ready to help, while Santos is able to cover both Richards in the dunker spot, and O'Neal is unfortunately not where he's supposed to be, which is the weak side corner. It's too late because once Booker picks up his dribble, he loses all advantage, as Steph's next rotation is to X out. Beal also is not high enough on the wing, so Curry is able to cover more space and gets a steal. On a fast break, O'Neal thinks he's picked him up, but Steph loves to dribble towards the slower big man to confuse the defense. Now he's got an entire left hand to use, and unfortunately, Richards does not even turn around. The Suns defense allows Steph zero resistance before going coast to coast for a layup. On a high pick and roll with Kevon Looney, Booker tries to ISIS towards the sideline, so Steph counters with a tween, then behind the back dribble, giving him the chance to use a screen anyway and attack the middle of the floor. This catches Iguodala on the wrong side of the pick, and with the screen defender in the drop coverage, Curry's able to attack and get easy dribble penetration. Here he waits for the perfect time on the roll by Looney to slide the slick bounce pass back to the screener for the left-hand layup. The relocation threes are always a work of art. On this split screen by the Dubs, Steph reads Bradley Beal's top block position and counters by back cutting, forcing Booker to rotate. Curry already knew that he was going to be there, so he touch passes to the weak side corner to the open pods. Shout out Pajensky for continuing his hot shooting. Here he attacks the closeout and gets dribble penetration. The big man Richards comes down from Draymond to help on the drive, but on the weak side, Booker makes a cardinal sin by losing sight of Curry off ball for a half second. Jimmy Butler has seamlessly fit into the Dubs offense. Here he sets an exit screen perfectly, and on this kick out back to Draymond, you can always rely on him to look for Steph. Bad communication by the Suns again, and Booker tries to go over the pick, giving Curry the read to fade for an open catch and shoot in the other corner. I like D-Book, but off-ball defense isn't his strong suit. Steph and Paz run a pick and roll, but Curry ghosts the screen at the last second, confusing the Suns who called for a switch. The ghost screen allows Curry to get a step on Book, and he's able to attack the closeout due to his shooting threat and get dribble penetration with his right hand. Richards is super late to recognize and rotate as the weak side big man, and Curry has zero resistance for this high arcing finger roll. There you guys have it, a quick breakdown on the must-win for the Warriors in their push to get out of the play-in race. 2 days after getting locked up in denial defense for just 3 points, Curry led an early three-quarter knockdown of the Phoenix Suns by getting to the ball early. Without the same kind of defense on him, Steph was able to get into on-ball actions right away, playing off high pick and roll and getting the ball to go to work. The Warriors easily executed off Curry's gravity and also found him on relocation threes, and it's a different look when you've got Bradley Beal and Colin Gillespie guarding you, so Steph definitely had the mental edge as well. Now it's on to a back-to-back against the Spurs, and the Warriors are well rested. So if you guys like this breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.